Hello and welcome back, artists and designers. Today we're going to go ahead and learn how to make this snazzy little popsicle icon here. This particular method we're going to go ahead and use simple shapes, the shape builder, the knife tool, and modifier simple shapes, and that's really about it. So let's dive in here and get started on this. First step is we're going to go ahead and make a rectangle, and we're going to work with all strokes to begin with. So I'm going to make my rectangle here. I'm going to make a rectangle for the stick, and I am going to make a couple rectangles for these little drips right here. So there's one drip, here's another drip, and I don't know why it won't let me make another one here. Let's try this again. There we go, there's our other drip right here. And I'm going to add the bite marks in a second here. So let's go ahead and take this, what we have so far. Let's make sure we get our stick lined up here. So I'm going to take that and make sure that snaps in. Look for that smart guide right here. And let's start getting this rounded out. So I'm going to go ahead and take the top two corners. I'm going to select those with my direct selection. I'm going to click on those and crank them in. You can decide whether you want to do full round, square it off a little bit. I'll leave that one up to you. I'll make it a full rounded edge right here. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to select, hold down Shift, select that bottom corner, and just round those out a tiny bit, soften that up a little bit. Let's do that on here. Grab that popsicle. Now for this one, I think I can do all four corners. Well, I'll just do the bottom. This top part, we're going to get rid of that with Shape Builder in just a moment here. So let's do the rest of these. Now I could do this all as one after I do the Shape Builder, but I like to kind of control these a little bit more individually. Let's go back to the regular selection tool. Round that out and click on this one, round this out, and round this last one out here. And I think that'll be good. So that'll give us a good start to kind of work with at this point. So let's go ahead and grab our Shape Builder tool, select everything, and then Shape Builder's right over here. Let's click on that guy. And by default, we're going to drag and merge all of these items together. So that's going to merge together. We're going to merge that together. We don't need to see this, so we're going to go ahead and just drag that and merge that all together. So now I can hover over and see that I've got one shape for the popsicle and the second shape for the stick here. So if I want to add that bite mark into it, let's go ahead and grab my ellipse tool and let's add a couple little bite marks at the top here. And I don't think I need to make these perfectly round, but it's up to you. So I'm just going to get a couple little circles that overlap right here. I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to go back, select everything here. I'm going to take my Shape Builder. This time, however, I'm going to hold down the Alt key or Option key on a Mac, and I'm going to drag over all these and get rid of those. And like magic, I get a little bite mark out of the top. Okay, this is looking pretty good. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and make a copy of this, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my base colors on, and then I'm going to use the knife tool to slice it up and put some shadows and highlights. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to hold the Alt key, I'm going to drag a copy of that right over here, and I'm going to save this one for the end. So let's go back to this and let's put some base colors on this. So let's make this a purple popsicle, just like that one up top. So I'm going to pick a base color for my purple. I think that one looks pretty good. I think I'll do that. Pick a base color for the stick. That looks pretty good there. And now I'm going to go ahead and use my knife tool. So the knife tool is hiding under the eraser tool. If you don't see it, again, you got to go up to Window, Toolbars, and make sure that you have the advanced option checked. And the way that the knife tool works is if you don't have anything selected, which I don't right now, wherever I start dragging this, anything that you draw over, it's going to start slicing through that and breaking that up into separate pieces. Whoops, I got to click off of it and it's going to break all of these parts up into different pieces. That's fine, but I want to be able to control what I'm slicing, so I'm going to go ahead and select the thing that I want to slice, which in this case is going to be the popsicle. So I click that once with my selection tool, and then I'm going to grab my knife tool, and I want to create a shadow that kind of goes around here like this. So I'm going to take this, start outside of the shape, drag this down, and kind of follow along down and maybe do something like that. And go ahead and do that. I caught a little end of that drip there, and I don't think I want that. I'll go in the reverse order this time. Back up top. Let's try that one more time. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now it looks weird because I have that line, but that's okay. I'm going to fix that in a minute. Click on this. Same thing. Let's slice a diagonal right across here for a shadow on my stick, and there we go. Okay, now I have it broken up into separate parts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click this shape, and I'm going to make that a little bit darker. So let's pick that darker purple right there, and then I'm going to go ahead and click on this shape, and let's make that the darker brown right here for the shadow. So have that. That looks okay, but I think it's going to look better if we get rid of the stroke in between here. So this is why we made a copy. I'm going to select the whole thing, and then I'm going to go ahead over to my stroke panel, and I'm going to say get rid of the stroke, and now we just have the flat icon without the stroke. This looks pretty good. The icon itself with the outline looks pretty good. The flat color fill looked pretty good before the slice, but now we're going to be able to merge the two together. So since these are separate parts and we don't want to necessarily move them around, I'm going to go ahead and select all of this. I'm going to go ahead and right click, and I'm going to group it. And same thing over here. I do have two separate pieces, so I'm going to select it, right click, and group it. And then when I bring this back over, that should line up pretty easily right there and snap into it. And I'm going to thicken up that stroke a little bit just to bring a little more impact. And again, in case it is behind the popsicle and isn't showing up properly, you just need to make sure that you kind of arrange and bring that to the front. So I can arrange, bring to the front, and that outline is going to come right to the front. And that looks pretty good. I'm going to add one final touch, and that's a little highlight over on this side. So I'm going to use the pencil tool. You can do this a number of different ways, but I'm going to go ahead and grab the pencil tool right here, double click on it, and I like to make sure my smoothing is all the way up, and I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And now I'm going to drag down here, and I'm going to make a little highlight right here. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of drag this down and curve it over like that. You can do whatever you want. If you don't like that one, redo it. That looks pretty good. I think I'll take that. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. I don't want it black, of course. So I'm going to go ahead and make this a lighter color. And let's make this that light. And I don't want the fill. I could do the fill and no stroke. Let's see how that looks. That looks okay, but I think I want the stroke and no fill. So I'm going to go ahead and switch these right here. And I need to crank up the stroke a little bit. And this is going to have a nicer look if I zoom in here. Rather than having these squared off ends, if I click on this stroke, click on the word, I'm going to do the round cap right here. And that's going to round it out and just kind of give it that softer look. I think I'll move it down here just a hair and get something that looks like that. And let's zoom out and take a look. That looks pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with that. Of course, you can add some more details to it as you see fit, but I think that gives us a nice little popsicle icon right there. And the cool thing is you have that as separate pieces, so if you want to separate it out and have your icon as one, just the outline or the stroke, have your flat color, have this color. That's why I like to build it kind of in two parts with the basic shape and then kind of slice things up with that knife tool. So there you go. Hope you had fun learning how to do that one, and I will see you in the next video.